Good evening, all. I am Mamta from Mini Fiesta. I am back with episode 3 of Lockdown with Mini Fiesta. So, this lockdown tales, right, with Mini Fiesta is with episode number 3. So, when you buy a home, you start dreaming about the interior space, right? How my kitchen will look, what about my living room, what about my bedroom space design, right? In fact, interior plays a key role of making your house a beautiful living home. So today's experts who are going to share all their experience, I am sure this is going to be super informative and super interactive section. They are husband and wife duo. One is super creative, the other one is super cool and calm executor. Let me introduce Akshata and Dev from D Space Interiors, Bangalore. Hello
Hi,
Akshata, hello Dev.
Hi,
Good
Mamta.
evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. If you can keep your camera a little far, I can't see both of you together.
Oh, okay. Sure. Is it better now?
Yeah, quite better. Yeah, Akshata
Okay.
is still half cut.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now. Finally. Yeah.
Cool.
We are just trying to be as close as possible.
Great. Yeah, you are cool. I know. एक बात बताओ, आपने कभी सोचा था कि you will be on live with Mini Fiesta?
अरे नहीं, हम लोगों ने बिल्कुल नहीं सोचा था. We were actually waiting for this opportunity, and we used to have these dreams, कि एक दिन हमको ममता बुलाएगी ऐसे. And the dream has come true.
Oh my God.
No,
See who is speaking about all the dreams.
yeah, it's a nice, interesting concept, Mamta. I must congratulate you on this because it's a nice idea, to come up with a live interactive session, an interactive chat.
Right.
It makes things very comfortable and yet informative. So there are no, qualms or too serious things happening around. It's nice to interact and let people know of what we do or what you want to do.
Correct. If you guys can keep your camera a little tilted, I can see your full
Sure.
face probably.
Sure. Is it better now?
Yes. Great.
Okay.
So let's start then. All this super excitement what we had, right? Throughout this 1 week, how it's going to happen. Yesterday we did a little demo also how it looks. So let's start.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's tell us about D Space and what it makes different from other interior. Definitely, we want to hear that.
Sure. So D Space is a residential interior designing firm, and we had started it way back in the year of 2010. We actually do turnkey interiors wherein we come up with our own set of designs and ideas, and then go ahead and implement them and execute them at the site itself. What we have done probably uniquely as compared to others is that when we started this, we did a bit of market research and realized that while unique ideas or unique designs are definitely the ask of the market, but there was another huge gap in the market which probably the interior domain was not able to fulfill, which was the trust of the consumer. A lot of clients that we talked to, they always talked about the kind of issues they faced while getting their interior works done. From carpenters running away to just getting some random ideas which never actually fitted into their rooms. They had all kind of I would say grievances from the interior designing firms. So that's where we realized that it's not only about unique ideas and designs. Of course they are a given, they have to be a part of the entire proposal or the offering, but it's also the client experience that needs to be taken care of while you are executing a project. So we decided to work closely on both the aspects, the design part of course, and again the client experience part of it, because at the end of the day, whatever the outcome may be, if the experience was not great, today the client is not going to be happy. So we focus on both the aspects. And the other thing we decided not to do was to have a sales and marketing channel or a division. We decided to work only on word of mouth or references. So we today also we don't kind of sell our products or sell our offerings at all. Our clients are our brand ambassadors or brand evangelists. We do one work, the client is happy with our work, and then he starts recommending us to their peers or their neighbors or their colleagues. And that's how we get additional business. So the focus completely has been on the quality of work, both in terms of design as well as execution and the experience, and not actually in getting bare numbers. So I think that's where probably, we are slightly different from the other firms who are, there in the market, wherein we completely focus. We have a very small team, but a completely focused team, in terms of both designing and the execution part.
Good. So one execute, one design. So it's a good combination, right? You both are. So yeah. So that's why I said, a duo couple who one is good in execution and one is good in designing. So perfect match. So yeah, how do you come to start your company, and what was its likely early years? Definitely early years are the days when you learn from your business, right?
Yeah. So we actually founded this in 2010. I have a I'm an architect. I'm a qualified BArch. I've done a 5-year architectural course. And my background has been in corporate interiors. So I did a lot of office interiors. And then I took a break when our son was born in 2009. And that was the time when we actually bought our first apartment in Bangalore. And I did that all on my own, completely on my own. And once we shifted into that apartment, we got a lot of good reviews and appreciation for the work that was done. And that's how, a lot of inquiries and, proposals came pouring in. People started asking if I would be interested to take up their homes and would I be able to design it. And that's how, we decided that it's not a bad opportunity. One is, you could create a good work-life balance without really compromising on the home front, because our son was too young. And it also gives a good, good opportunity to, explore and kind of exercise your talents and your qualifications. So I started slowly, and I mean, those days, I mean, we were too new to the market, because working in an established setup and setting up your own established firm are two different things. So when I started, I was all alone, of course, with Dave's moral support, but I had to, learn to swim on my own.
Correct.
So a lot of experience that I gathered hands-on, tried building up a team. There were a lot of challenges. We couldn't get the right set of people with the right skill sets, people who would understand what commitment means or what our vision is. And, to marry all that became quite challenging. But I think it's been a nice journey from where we started to where we are today. It's been 10 years. We've got very supportive clients. I have a very supportive family. And all of that together, I think, and we did not give up in spite of these challenges. And we thought, we should let this keep going. And at the same time, we were not very over ambitious about scaling it up, to make it exponentially big. We just wanted to be where we are, but get better at what we are doing, so that we have a name, to stand for, or a brand to resonate with. I mean, if people talk about DSpace today, they should be able to say good things about us, rather than saying, they've done 1,000 projects, but none of them were of any worth. Rather than we rather do 10 and, be remembered for it, or people kind of talk about it.
Right. So, very soon or very quickly when we started the business, we realized that it's not going to be run by both of us, or one individual or two individuals. It's actually a team effort.
Yes.
So a lot of initial time was being spent in building a team that believes in our vision. We quickly realized that no matter what kind of designs or concepts that we come up with, until unless they get executed well, in the way we want, the outcome is not going to be perfect or the way we want it. So while designing, of course, was a very, very critical aspect, we individually, both of us, spend a lot of time in building a team, getting the right set of resources who actually, kind of believed in our vision, understood our thought process. And, that's probably the reason why we are here, today, what we have done. So I think we focused on these aspects, and that's how, today we are where we are.
Great. It's always good, rather than giving a lot of quantity than a quality.
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
We strongly believe one is never known for the quantity of work he or she has done, but the quality of work.
True.
So that's has been our
Yeah.
main focus.
Great. That's actually a good main focus. So here comes your next question on that aspect, right? What are the key elements of an interior design?
I think, Mamta, the key elements, the first thing is, respect the space that you have. It's very important to respect and like what you have, because it's, we get these days we get very compact apartments and compact spaces, but we still have to work with it. So one key element is to respect what you have, respect the space that you have. The other elements would be, to understand the client's vision, and then try to give them, we have to maximize out of whatever we have. So everybody wants maximum storage, everybody wants maximum floor space within that space. So we have to cleverly sometimes, tweak and explore options to come out of the box solution, so that the client is happy, it looks different, plus it has our signature element, and you give them the best and the maximum within that limited space, budget, and whatever technical constraints there. These days vastu compliance has also become a very important part of design. So all those things are I would say key importance while designing.
Correct. So space, that is a one big problem nowadays. Bangalore houses also getting like in a Bombay houses, only the boxes you get in Bangalore. Correct?
Tell us
So
about it.
very soon we are going to edge of a Bombay where you will get only this much square feet box, you live with it.
Yeah, I mean,
We are soon
Heading
reaching
towards
that. Yeah, we are soon
Absolutely.
heading to that.
Yeah, correct. So do you have a set of process or a specific method for bringing a design to life?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, as I mentioned earlier also, very quickly had we realized that it's not going to be the design only which will actually help us in, reaching the outcome, but it's the processes that we're going to put in place. So today, when I talked about building a team, the team is being constantly guided. We have set up processes wherein each and every member knows his or her designated role. He is very clear about what is expected out of him. There are training sessions being done, by both of us. We have regular team meetings, wherein we keep guiding them or training them, and we keep talking about our vision. So, all these processes that we have set up, has given an immense clarity to the team today that, okay, this is what is expected from us, and this is how we should approach, our daily chores, or probably, the issues that we face. Apart from that, what we have also done, another thing that we have taken a conscious decision on is that we don't have anybody between us and the client and between us and the team. We don't have an array of designers, under us who actually talk to the clients and, kind of coordinate with them. We have decided to actually keep it very simple. We tend to have effective communication between us and the client as well as with the team. So the clients also have a very clear, at least idea that, both of us have good control over the site. We are aware of what's happening there. And at the same time, since we stay in touch with the team on a daily basis, we are very well aware of what are the issues they are facing at, that end. So all these processes, that we have established have really helped us in, maintaining our timelines, maintaining the quality of work, and the effective implementation of all our design ideas.
Yes. So we have a very I would say a structured or a very specific protocol of communication where each team member is designated a role, and he's trained or motivated in a way that he's comfortable communicating whatever it is. Because in our kind of business or in our kind of profession, there are challenges or problems that occur at day to day are to our basis. It could be a logistical challenge, it could be a site constraint, it could be something as simple as a transport issue on the road, an entry to a specific place, accessing here and there, all those kind of things. So we've trained or motivated or kind of communicated the team that communication is the key to the success of any business or a process. Because unless we communicate, we cannot come up with a problem solving, we cannot come up with a solution, we cannot. And this way, all of us have learned to have a problem solving ability, and to come out of any situation at any given point in time. So there is we've achieved this over these 10 years of experience and with because every site has a different challenge, every project has a different challenge. All of us have different challenges. It can be at personal level also, it could be personality driven also. So we've learned to kind of fight with all these challenges, and I realize that communication is very, very important to
For the
set up
effective implementation.
for a process or a business to run effectively.
Good. So that's what communication is important, and very best part is that it is, as you said, right? You don't have a designer or any team who communicates to client. It's the face is either they or Akshata. So the clients feel very comfortable. Okay, the owner of a company is on my face to discuss with them, right? So it's like they don't have a filters, 10 filters to reach you.
Yes.
So that has been really helpful for us, and we tried the other model also, wherein we did have a couple of designers working with us, but then I think at the end of the day, probably the passion with which we work, at the end of the day, these spaces are baby. So we have certain ideas, we have a certain approach, and we very soon realize that if we have to maintain the standards that we have set in, we have to be right there on the ground, talking to the team as well as to the client, and have to have complete control, over the entire, setup.
Absolutely.
So I think that has been really helpful for us.
Good. It is very important for a business. And the business like you, where you have a lot of competitor in a market, it's very, very much important. So, yeah. Where do you find the inspiration for new design? Oh my God, how many designs you have?
I think the list is endless, Mamta. When you say inspiration, we could draw inspiration from anything, maybe a leaf on the tree, the color on the wall. Sometimes our clients come up with some ideas or things that are very inspiring, which could be anything that you see on a day-to-day basis. You just have to be sensitive and observant to what you see around and try and pick up, so subconsciously, consciously, we try to pick up whatever we see and try to use them, in our designs. It could be as simple as a small wall decor element or a fabric that you use effectively in a space, or a color, or just a piece of furniture. So even when we travel, we try to pick up something from somewhere and keep that in mind, or take a picture and then try to use it in a way so that it brings out some newness or uniqueness to a space.
Like Akshita said, we travel a lot. We want to travel a lot, and we keep doing that. Of course, not in these days, but otherwise. Yeah. And I think every place where we have been to, there have been experiences. We have been able to get ourselves exposed to newer designs, innovative ones. And I think inspiration comes from there. Unless you explore, and expose yourself to a lot of newer things, it's very difficult to be creative and unique always. So I think all these things combined have, helped us.
Yeah, basically, just walk with an open mind and open eyes.
Yeah, right.
The inspiration could come from anywhere.
So it could be happening many times for Dev ki Akshata is standing near one coffee shop, and she is thinking, wow, this is designing is really good. Dev, we should implement. They will be, okay, madam, take your time. I'll have a coffee by the time.
So you go to a restaurant and you keep saying, okay, the design is like this, can we have dinner, please? So,
but you should be really lucky that your wife is looking for all business terms rather than, wow, ये साड़ी कितनी अच्छी लग रही है, देव मैं ले लूं क्या?
Yeah, it happens, but sometimes I have to tell her that, okay, give it a break. Let's focus on the family life. Let's have some dinner. Let's have some food. Allow me to have a coffee at least. So yeah, it makes. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, just a random question when we are discussing about a coffee shop and all that. Any of the coffee shop or any of the cafe which you like the interior most in Bangalore?
I think the Coffee Day Lounge on the Vittal Malia Road is quite catchy.
Yeah, it's good.
It's quite
very
swanky.
Vibrant and
And the road itself is a vibrant, no? Vittal Malia Road. Great. So, what are the things you have to take care while designing?
Yeah, I think, like I said, first is the space, then the client's requirements, their budget, the Vastu compliance, plus kind of fitting your vision, because each time we try to deliver a project, we try to do something new which is unique to that space without diluting our signature style. So we have to take into account all of these factors when we are designing, because we have a particular space to work with, we have a particular budget to work with, we have some specific requirements, the client's personality, their passions, their interests, all of these, so we have to kind of marry all these together and, come up with something which is visually appealing plus functional and, has something which has a D-Space signature to it, but it kind of sets that house apart from the rest of the houses that we've done. So yeah, we kind of, list down all these things and then come up with a solution.
Good, good. So, how do you convince your client if you don't come on one mutual decision?
So it may happen, yes, of course. Of course, we are lucky, as I said earlier, that when we work with somebody, it's primarily through word of mouth or through reference. So in that scenario, what happens is whenever a client approaches us, they are already aware of our design process, our thought process, the results, because they would have seen it somewhere and then only would they have come to us. We also actually, before getting into any kind of contractual obligation, we request our clients to take a look at our work, not only in 3Ds or in images, but probably in person by visiting one of our clients.
Yeah, like a real-time walkthrough.
Yes, so that they have an idea, okay, and they also get to talk to our clients who share their feedback, and so when you start a relationship, by doing all this homework, generally, you're actually on a platform wherein both of you trust each other, and you're happy to hear out each other, and that's what we do. So it's not about having any egos, that we have designed this and hence it needs to be implemented. We also hear out our clients because they come with a specific requirements. Some have very specific requirement in terms of their traditional values, or they have something in their mind. But at that point of time, we believe it's our responsibility to actually kind of let them know what we have thought and how we have thought about it, and then also put their ideas on the plate. Compare both of them, give them pros and cons of
Yes.
their feedback or viewpoint and ours. And at the end of the day, as long as both the clients and us believe that the end objective is to make the space more beautiful and probably well planned, logic finally wins at the end of the day. So they trust us, we trust them, and as long as we have a logical explanation to why we are approaching it,
Yeah,
I think we
try to guide them in a way so that they take an informed decision,
Right.
so that
Correct.
it is in favor of the project and
Yes.
not really an individual ideology.
So like Akshita just mentioned that, we have to take into account Vastu compliance. So in some cases, clients do come back and say, we don't believe in Vastu, but yeah, we believe in, having an effective utilization, so we can work accordingly. But then there are times when, when the clients say that, no, as per Vastu, we can't do it. So definitely, we hear them out and come up with the, best and the most effective implementation. So thankfully, again, communication is the key here. When you talk the right things, and when you talk with a very honest intention of bringing out the best, a mutual decision is just probably a call away or a meeting up.
Great. Good. So, when designing a room, what is the important factor for you and what are the challenges?
Again, like I said, most of the builders these days, come up with really, really compact spaces. So, we have to start with motivating the client that, it is not as bad or as small as you think, and we can do much to it to, make it desirable and usable. So again, we try to, when we design a space, we try to look, designing a room particularly, we try to look at the maximized daylight that can be incorporated into the room. The maximum floor space and maximum storage, again, based on the requirement, whatever can be incorporated into the room. Again, and adding a personalized feel to that room, by giving some elements or colors so that the space looks as, the client or the person who's occupying that space feels a little bit of belongingness to that. So we kind of try to personalize it. Like if it's a kid's room, I would try to put something in the room which specifically calls out that this is this kid's room, with either his name somewhere, or something in that room which calls that this space belongs to a particular person. Basically bring out some character into that space, so that it starts looking more appealing, more personal. And
basically it should probably reflect your personality, your identity. When somebody walks into your room, you should be able to relate it to you. I think that's the main focus for us.
Yes.
Correct. Good. Are there any particular material or color which you like to work with?
I think though we are open to using new age materials, and we keep exploring whatever is trending and new to the market. A lot of vendors and a lot of people approach us with new age materials and new things that are in the market. But we do have a set preference for a particular set of materials, because we've been working with these materials. They've been tried and tested over all these years. And we've seen how these materials behave, how easy or difficult it is to maintain it. So for a household, it's very, very different from any other commercial space, which cannot undergo renovation. Looking at our busy lifestyles and the kind of, work life that we have to come up with a solution which is robust, appealing, and doesn't need too much of maintenance and repair again and again. So our experience, tells us that there is a particular set of materials, or things that we should be working with, so that, because it's all been tried and tested. Of course, by saying that, I don't mean that we do not experiment. We do experiment, but the first level of experiment actually happens at our at our very personal level. I mean, we are the guinea pigs. If at all I have to try a new material, I would do that in my own house, use it, test it, and then recommend it to a client, or give my honest feedback to the vendor or the manufacturer. And we try to come up, we do try to use different materials, but at the same time we have a set notion about certain set of materials. And colors, I would say, when it comes to colors, we love colors, but we have a certain design philosophy in applying those colors. When we design a space, generally we try to keep the background or the backdrop of the entire space very, very muted, in terms of whatever is fixed in the house, like your fixed furniture, your walls. We try to keep it very, very, very generic, or very, very muted and subtle. The colors, or the the pop elements coming through the variable, moving, soft elements in the house. So that enables a lot of flexibility. Like instead of doing a red wall, I would rather do a red wallpaper, or a red curtain, or a red cushion, which I know is changeable in a certain period of time. You cannot really change the paint too frequently, but you can definitely change a cushion cover, or a piece of furniture, or a small accessory in a space. So we try to cleverly bring in color to the space, so that it's easy to change the mood. Today you like red, tomorrow you may not. So changing the wardrobes and the walls would be difficult, but changing a cushion cover or an accessory is easier. So that's how
Correct.
materials.
Yeah, that's right. How would you describe an ideal client?
So, I probably, we can say that we have had the opportunity to work with a lot of ideal clients. The reason being that an ideal client is the one who actually trusts us. Believes in our approach. Right from the designing aspect to the execution, part of it. Since there's a lot of interaction that happens in advance. And there's a lot of proof of work, or a proof of concept that we are able to show them. A lot of our clients actually, when they get into a contractual obligation with us, they do it with a lot of trust and a lot of belief in us. And I think those are our ideal clients. We can definitely and very safely say today that even now that we have done around 500 plus projects, probably 90% of our clients have been our ideal clients. We have been lucky to have those clients who have put in their trust. We have actually seen wherein our clients have called up and said, I have talked to this person, he has these issues, and I told them that, you guys are the right ones to be approached, and, his issues will be taken care of. So they have been our brand evangelists. They have actually been talking on behalf of us. And I always, we discussed that we couldn't have been luckier. Whatever effort that we have put in today, we can boast of, more than 90% happy clientele. It's impossible to keep everybody happy, but as long as
Yeah, as long as they trust us and they give us the creative freedom, creative
Absolutely,
license
yes.
to do what we want to. I think all of them are ideal.
But yeah, that's what we look forward to in a client, and we have been lucky enough to get a client very, very often.
Good. So how you handle the workers and sort their issues so that it does not affect the delivery?
Yeah, so as we discussed earlier, probably before also it had happened with us, wherein we wanted to have a very effective communication channel between us and the team, and I think this has really helped us in order to in establishing a system wherein the labor or our team is more than happy to discuss their issues with us, and maintain a very highly effective communication. And because of this, what has happened is that today, when we talk to our team on a daily basis, any issues that they may face, which could be professional or which could be personal, it has really helped out for us, wherein we have talked to them, we have sorted out their issues, and we have ensured that at least whatever problems or challenges they are facing, they have been taken care of.
Good. So, how about the future plans of DSpace?
We are actually a 500 project old company now, and I can safely say that yes, we have done decently well. Of course, we haven't scaled, at a pace that we would have wanted to, but we always focus on, as we said earlier, quality of work instead of the quantity of work. And hence, as a result, today we are in a position where, we wanted to be. The next step definitely is to venture out more cities. We did a project in Hyderabad last year. We're about to start a project in Chennai. Once things get normalized very soon, we have already done it. But again, the whole focus is not only about, getting a project outside the city, but again, setting up a team, setting up the right processes so that the quality of the work, stays the same. Yeah, it's irrespective of the city where we are present in. The workmanship or the end product has to be exactly what we intend to offer our clients. So definitely, some of the cities that are in the radar are Hyderabad, Chennai and Mumbai. But again, we are very sorted in our minds that any kind of expansion, if at all, that happens in those cities, will be done only if we have the right set of workers or the team working there. Otherwise, we will take our time. We will actually take baby steps, but we'll take the steps in the right direction.
Great. So, any future plans of setting up an office in Bangalore?
I think we have had those discussions quite a bit, but something that has really worked out for us, we believe in a very lean startup model. I was running another tech startup before, we both started working. And some of the lessons that I've learned from there is that, it's not the office probably that's important, but it's again, how you deal with the team, how do you deal with your clients is extremely important. In fact, our apartment itself doubles up as a sample apartment for all the clients who walk in and want to have a word with us. So, even if we set up an office, we'll eventually end up calling them to our place, to showcase our work. So this is something that has really worked out well for us. And, it has also, working in our own apartment has also helped us in, maintaining a healthy work-life balance, because we spend a lot of time at home. We really don't want to be overburdened in those offices. That has never been the idea. The idea has to be with each other. Though Akshata sometimes complains that you have been with me for more than I had thought, but, that's not good. But yes, so I think as of now, no plans because, our apartment doubles up as a sample apartment, and we have been able to do complete majority of our works from here itself, and the team of course works on the ground, so they really don't need to be at a workplace to actually execute it. Yes.
Good.
And
Dhruv, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that when you talk about a startup model, you really need to be very sure of where you should be putting your money. I mean, we have tried to invest our revenues in the right places, which, in terms of team, in terms of the materials that we procure, rather than having a fancy office, So our fundamentals are that irrespective of the workplace where we work from, I think the investment has to be in the right set of resources, and that's what we have been focusing
Good. Dhruv, I'm coming up to your question. It's there in my pipeline.
on.
So, yes, if you could have an opportunity to walk someone from any period across any industry, who it will be and why?
Okay, so in case if I get a chance, probably I would, I've been, looking up to the Tata's group, since the time I started my corporate career. I think Tata's is a group who have actually not only scaled up their businesses and have been extremely successful from a revenue perspective, but also in terms of their integrity, morals, and honesty. That's one group which has never compromised on the integrity and the quality that they offer. So I think probably there's a lot to learn from both Sri Jamshedji Tata as well as Mr. Ratan Tata, because scaling up a business at that level and not compromising on your integrity, on your morals, on your honesty, I think that's a amazing balance that they have created in the industry, and I think there's a lot to learn from them. So if given an opportunity, I would love them to be my mentors.
And I think
Great.
I would work with Mrs. Sudha Murthy. I think she's a lady of who's proven her mettle. She comes from a technical background. She's an author and she's a known philanthropist. So I think it would be really inspiring to be learning from her experiences. So if I get an opportunity, it will certainly be her.
Wow. Tata Groups and Sudha Murthy. Wow. I wish this will come soon to these spaces. Yeah. The last but not the least. Right? How COVID-19 have affected your business and what are your action plans?
Yeah, it has impacted. Real estate has been impacted extremely badly, and since we work on the ground, so the business has been shut for the last 60 odd days. Part and parcel of what has happened, we have to accept it. We have decided to stay positive. Things are improving, and of course not in terms of the number of cases, but I think we are accepting, that the virus is going to live with us for a long time, and we have to work accordingly. I think we are reaching a situation wherein all of us have accepted the fact that as long as we take necessary precautions, the life has to go on. Things cannot come to a halt for more than a stipulated time. So we have been in touch with our team. We have been guiding them, helping them out with whatever way we can. We all have stood together in these tough times. In whatever way we could have helped them, we have done that. In fact, now the time has come wherein we have started recalling our team back. Half of it was in their native in Rajasthan, and they'll be joining us soon. And with relaxations being introduced, we are actually going to hit our sites very soon, probably in the max by the second week of June. Some works have already been resumed. The sites which were already under a process, and wherever we could get permissions from, the team has already been deployed. But yeah, we are taking all necessary precautions. We have actually told them that you have to wear masks at the site. So all those things, they have been briefed pretty well. The action plan we feel is that with what has happened now, it has been a great learning curve for all of us. Like somebody rightly said, probably we were the virus and Corona is a vaccine. And the way we have abused the environment, I think we're just paying for it now. And we have decided to learn from this experience, from this pandemic. And we have also decided to stay positive when when we were out of work. All of a sudden, of course, it was like, hey, we have nothing to do, but we decided to not to shorten our learning curve. We read a lot. We talked to each other. We thought about what we are going to do once we are back in business. How can we improve our processes further? These are the things which actually continued while, So the action plan is to come back more strong, better, and probably, help our clients in whatever way we can.
Yeah, I think this time has been therapeutic for all of us because it's given all of us a rest period, to think more calmly and come back to the ground and, realize what
What is actually
yeah,
important?
what is more important. And when, a calm mind, I think works the best. So amidst all this stress and chaos, there came a time where all of us could relax and, sit back and think and decide what we want to do with our lives. So I think this has been a good time to, and this too shall pass, right? We face challenges and tough days always in life. So this too shall pass, and this is a time where, which teaches us a lot. So, and this is not going to stay for a very long time. This too shall pass, and we move on and we forget, and when we look back, we'll realize it was a very good learning experience for all of us.
And probably from a business perspective, I think the lean startup model, which we had been following, really helped us in these tough times.
Yeah.
Our costs had always been low, and like you were just asking, a while back, that why not an office? Probably some of these decisions that we took, helped us in these tough times, because we were able to actually arrest our cost as much as possible. And, probably, we will be away from this time very shortly. And lucky to have a team, who have stood by us in all these testing times. They have been with us. They are also raring to come back to work. So, it's a good feeling to have, not only you, but your team also, who calls me on a daily basis and say, "Sir, when can we resume the work?" So definitely looking forward, probably to resume the work ASAP.
Yes, down the line, 15 days more, that's it. And DSpace is in action. And DSpace will be in action. One will be running this side, other will be running that side of the city. Probably this time you might not go for together meetings. You will be dividing your work. You go this way, I'll go that way. Great. Wow. It was a nice detailed about space management, especially when it comes to home interior, right? Everyone have a question, what will happen if my interior guys run away from the work? Many things happens, right? I heard from many people कि अरे मेरा इंटीरियर वाला साला 10 दिन काम करके निकल गया, अब उसको पकड़ के लाओ, काम करवाओ, उसको बोलो कि भाई ऐसा नहीं था, वैसा था. So all this, DSpace helps us out to minimalize and just talk to the two people who are sitting in front of a camera. Rest, you just sit, relax at home, everything will be get delivered. So that is the reason behind the naming of a DSpace also. The space.